followed by Alex Bilecki. Yes, right here. Alex, we're in the middle now. I know, changes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So these are my concerns as a citizen of Reading and Shasta County. There are inconsistencies in how the law is interpreted by police officers in Reading when dealing with someone who has a severe mental illness. Involuntary holds such as 5150s and 5250s are inconsistent and often not effective. Everything has to line up perfectly to ensure someone meets criteria for a hold. The right people have to show up, the right clinician, the right police officers, because not everyone will make the decision that someone meets criteria, and some don't even try. Police are not taking our statement seriously when we believe someone needs involuntary treatment. AB 1424 requires all individuals making decisions about involuntary treatment to consider information supplied by family members and other interested parties. This happens occasionally, but it's not consistent. We are not holding people accountable. Everyone I talk to, medical staff, mental health staff, police officers, etc., are frustrated with their inability to do what is needed for the individual who is sick and needs involuntary treatment. The police know the jail is overcrowded and very few people will be detained for long. They will be back on the street repeating the same offense they were taken in for. Police are afraid of losing their jobs if they encounter someone with a severe mental illness. Every police officer I have encountered has quoted the San Diego case where a family won $3.5 million lawsuit because their family member with a severe mental illness died after deputies tried to forcefully remove him from a jail holding cell. Waiting for the least restrictive method to work costs lives. The least restrictive method does not work for everyone, especially someone who has a diagnosed severe mental illness and may not be aware they are sick. 7 months is way too long to let someone wander on the streets, starving and getting sicker by the day, causing permanent damage both physically and mentally. What about the rest of us? What about our rights? What about our safety? We have to follow the laws, but because someone is mentally ill or on drugs, they do not have to follow the laws. In the meantime, we are putting up metal fences to protect ourselves against the mentally ill and drug addicted. These issues will not be fixed until we address all the problems related to homelessness. Enforce the laws, take people to jail for their crimes, and require involuntary treatment. Provide ongoing support once someone is released from treatment. Involuntary holds need to stick so individuals get the care that they need. And I speak from experience, and I know that this is a general statement that I'm making, but it's my experience, and I wanted to make it public.
Thank you. Mr. Bilecki.
Good evening. My name is Alex Bilecki. I'm a citizen of the U.S. On the 4th of July, thereabouts, I was accosted and attacked by a criminal. Took my face, half of it, completely off. Had it sewed back on, and the cops were really good about getting the individual. They were quick, they responded well, but the recognition for them catching the individual is the lady who opened her door, hearth and home, just to say, hey, come in, I'll call the police, I will call the medical people. And she did. To this day, I didn't say anything because, well, we didn't have public speaking to where people can speak out loud without being hurt. Protesters get hurt. All kinds of people have been getting hurt, but most importantly, the medical people at the hospital I mean, this is during the pandemic where everybody was scared. They were all willing to chip in and help everybody. And I saw what citizenship was when people worked together. Now we need to stand together. The government's going to be giving California a lot of money. And I think that should go specifically to the prisons. Make them larger. Hold people accountable for their drugs, their drug use. And most importantly, don't hamstring the police from doing their job. If they're wrong, they're wrong. If they're right, they're right. Let's just take it one day at a time. Thank you very much for your time and effort.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item 4, the consent calendar. The consent calendar contains items considered routine and or which have been individually scrutinized by city council members and are anticipated to require no further deliberation. If a member of the public wishes to address an item on the consent calendar, please fill out a speaker request form in the council chamber lobby. You may also review the options to submit public comment. It shall be the prerogative of any city council member before the consent calendar is acted upon to 1, comment on an item, respond to any public comment on an item, 3, request a record reflect an abstention or a nay vote on an item, or 4, remove an item and place it on the regular portion of the agenda for delivery of a staff report and or extended discussion or deliberation. Do we have any public comment? All right, so we have public comment. Paul Anthony Johnson for 4.1B.
I'm going to be the unpopular one, I guess. I'm homeless and I'm a recovering addict. And it's a weird thing. It's a diverse group of people, the homeless people. They all struggle with personal issues, mental issues. And it's a tragic thing to watch and even be a part of, because it's a thing that nobody really wants to deal with. And people have been hurt, and their feelings are valid. And it's a really complicated issue. But whether you're homeless or a drug addict or whatever you're dealing with, you're still entitled to your rights, you know, and to be treated like a human being. And if those people are going to heal, I think that they need to see that people do care. You can build all the prisons in the world, and it's not going to, what's it going to fix? I mean, humanity is all for one and one for all. Otherwise, if you take away one person's rights, then you've really stripped them away from everybody. The reason I'm here today is because the library implemented a policy where they will not allow a person staying at the Good News Rescue Mission to check a book out. They can't own a physical library card. And, you know, that doesn't sit well with me because, you know, I went to prison and I did my time and I read my Bible and I did everything I could to better myself. And no, I didn't get miraculously healed. I'm still human. But when those rights start getting infringed upon, you start feeling like you're less than human. And that's when people don't want to, that's when you can't find common ground, is when you take that away from somebody. So I'm here just bringing this to your attention because I'm sure that's not everybody's. You guys aren't the bad guys. This is a public hearing to address public issues. And the library is state and maybe even federally funded. So everybody has equal access rights to the information and knowledge that's there. And I would just like to make sure that you guys protect that. Because people do want to change and people do want to grow. And people do want to quit doing drugs. It's a community. And when it's a community, you have to consider the least of them. Or it's not really a community. You just can't ignore something. It's going to deteriorate. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. On item 411D, Dan Pelzari and Teresa Rudolph.
Thank you for the opportunity. Recently, I thought this was going to be a bit of a slam dunk with an agreement that we've been putting together with the city as Shasta Cart Club for about 19 years. And it was usually done at the end of the year. And what we do is we look forward to moving on. This is not a small doing. This is families invest $10,000 to $15,000 in an effort to build and race their carts to give their children an opportunity. We have a great facility in Reading. What's happened recently is Shasta Cart Club and Shasta Supermoto have got together and said, let's do something really special out here. There was a letter that came through asking that we can hold off maybe making a decision on this. Guys, as Jason shared with me yesterday, Jason's part of Supermoto, we've spent and made more trips to the track to look at solutions to solve a problem than we have racing over the last 2 years. That's a little bit out of balance for many reasons. There's a potential from the Reading drag strip to maybe hold off